chocolate is good for your teeth.
I like it better than anything else. I enjoy it.
Chocolatey. Science is the answer. Science, 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 and science.
That crazy Nancy, she is crazy.
He doesn't know what he's talking about once again.
She's lost it.
She's lost it, Basil.
I don't know if I really registered the Trump addition to the Pelosi.
Oh, it's good.
thing there. It's good. I like it. Okay, folks. Yes, the weekend. Wow, what a whirlwind of updates about the Paul Pelosi attack. I told you things were going to get weirder. It's going to get more confusing.
It is.
And man, has it been more confusing.
I am very confused because at this very moment, hashtag Pelosi gay lover is trending.
Yes. Just
to add to the monster that is Paul Pelosi's hammer story.
I don't see that one. I do see hashtag Paul Pelosi is gay.
Okay.
Which, look, Elon's in charge now, okay? This is the kind of free speech madness. Oh, no, it's destroying our democracy.
Oh, boy.
Let's start out by taking this this story from The Guardian real quick, Guardian. Just to check in, see what The Guardian's saying about this. The headline here is a secret bathroom 911 call. How Paul Pelosi saved his own life. Paul Pelosi, the husband of U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who was attacked with a hammer during an invasion of their California home, saved his life after secretly, telephoning for help from the bathroom. According to Politico, which has been sort of the lead, they've been sort of the bastion of breaking storyness on this whole thing. So we'll be referring to Politico a few times. According to Politico, Paul Pelosi told the alleged intruder, identified by authorities as David DePepe. Now, there was some confusion last episode, Gons, about how to pronounce this guy's name. And surely this confusion is not relegated to the walls of Canary Cry NewsTalk. The entire mainstream media has no idea how to pronounce this guy's name, but you pointed out that it could be pronounced DePepe, and how there's, of course, a little NLP connection to Pepe the Frog, right-wing extremism, stuff like this. So we're going to be using DePepe because that is what the news folk, the news readers like to say. Paul Pelosi told the alleged intruder, identified by authorities as David DePepe, that he needed to use the restroom. Paul Pelosi's mobile phone was charging in the bathroom at the time. The 82-year-old man then made a surreptitious call to 911. Ooh, there's a nice little NLP for you. 911, and remained connected. Okay, so again, remember, we are led to believe that David DePepe broke into the house. Of course, you know, it's Paul Pelosi, husband of Nancy Pelosi. No alarm went off.
No security guards.
Automatic. No security guards. No, nothing. No camera footage. No, Ring doorbell. No, nothing. We're led to believe that there's absolutely no security in place at Paul Pelosi's residence. Sure, whatever.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm more surprised about the fact that during an intrusion, Paul Pelosi can go, time out. I got to use a John. Like I got to get in there.
Sure.
And the guy, the intruder's like, all right, sure. Sure.
The intruder just lets him go to the bathroom, close the door.
That's like 101 kidnapping no-nos, Yes. You learn that as a child criminal.
Again, more questions are raised, the more reporting happens. Let me just prepare you all for that.
Great.
The emergency services dispatcher, Heather Grimes, heard an exchange between Paul Pelosi and his attacker as he spoke in, quote, code to alert the authorities that there was a problem.
Ooh, what's the code?
Quote, what?
What's the code?
What's the code? I know. Quote, what's going on? Why are you here? What are you going to do to me? Pelosi reportedly said while on the call. It's suspicious. A suspicious Grimes then notified police for a wellness check. So this is the explanation for the wellness check, okay? The reporting was the police just kind of happened to show up at 2:30 in the morning for a wellness check. And this is kind of the story. Again, raises more questions than it answers. This is just a bad home intruder. if he's letting Paul Pelosi go to the bathroom, close the door, lock the door, whatever. And then it goes on and, you know, talks about how Paul Pelosi, you know, he called David, his friend, on the phone. And that was kind of taken and run with some of the more, I don't know, exciting online outlets saying that David and Paul were friends. The rebuttal there is that Paul was speaking in code to try to not, you know, set him off or whatever. Okay, sure. So that's kind of the answer to the wellness check thing. Now, there was also an issue of the unknown third person in the home. Did you hear about this? Well, you did, because I told you. Now, this is very difficult to find mainstream reporting on. I'm going to be bringing it from Breitbart, but only because Breitbart references the source on this. So Breitbart has a headline here. Update. Police say only two. Oh, they changed the headline. That's nice. Police say only 2 people in Paul Pelosi's residence at time of assault. This used to say unknown third person in the home. Okay. So they changed it. The story is developing as we read it here. Previously, this Breitbart article questions a piece of the Politico original reporting.
There's a screenshot of it in the article, which helps.
And they have the screenshot. They have the highlighted screenshot. And in the Politico reporting, it said officers arrived at the house, knocked on the front door, and were let inside by an unknown person. 1. They discovered DePepe
2.
and Pelosi
3.
struggling for a hammer. Right. So they were let in the house and then found DePepe and Pelosi fighting over the hammer.
It was a ghost.
Which
it's Halloween season. Yes. It was the unknown person. It was a ghost.
Which led a lot of people to believe that there was a third person.
Nancy.
The update on this Breitbart article says, update, San Francisco police have clarified to NBC News that no third person was in the home on the night of the attack on Paul Pelosi. The original article on this misunderstanding of unclear language from authorities is visible below. So that's where they gave you the sort of
explanation.
The update.
Yeah.
The source from Politico. Now, I went and I checked the Politico article again, and they did change it to read like this. The police chief said Friday that officers arrived at the house, entered through the front door, which someone, they didn't specify who, opened from the inside. So it went from an unknown person.
It was a robot.
Opened.
Or an alien.
It went from.
They don't have personhood yet.
It's really wild. Yeah. The reporting went from an unknown person opened the door to they didn't specify who opened the door.
Something spooky.
So really, we're led to believe that is either Paul Pelosi or DePepe opened the door and then ran and took their places to start fighting over a hammer really quickly or something. It just still doesn't make any sense. So there's no clarity whatsoever, unless what probably, the most likely explanation is that the police opened the door themselves, which is technically illegal. So they don't want to say that they broke the law to protect Paul Pelosi, something, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what they're saying about the third person, is that there was no third person. Now, I do want to say this. All of these explanations are coming from the San Francisco Police Department. And if you are Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, most powerful person in the San Francisco area, she's third in line to be the president. She's, very powerful, perhaps even the most powerful person in California, at least politically. You just gotta, you just can't help but think that the police are going to say whatever they're told
whatever
to say,
the text message from Nancy says.
Sure.
Even if it means changing the story.
Let me be clear. I don't have any evidence to this. I'm not proposing a conspiracy. I'm just saying every explanation that they give asks more questions than it answers. And it just seems like a PR job to settle down some weird stuff when we're 9 days from midterms.
Yeah. In the context of that.
In the context of all this, right. Now, one of the other very interesting facts or I don't know, rumors was that either Paul Pelosi or David Pepe or both were in their underwear at the time.
Yeah.
So let's head over to heavy.com.
That's heavy.
And the headline is Paul Pelosi underwear rumor in David DePepe attack debunked. Fact check. Good. We need a debunking or whatever. It goes like this. Twitter is flooded with people assuming as a fact that David DePepe and or Paul Pelosi were in their underwear when San Francisco police arrived at the scene of a hammer attack. But is that true? What's the evidence? We'll get into the evidence in a second. But in further exploration of who this David DePepe guy is, of course, as we expected, the team of crack investigative reporters looked into his social media. This even asked some more questions than it answered because apparently they found the wrong David DePepe for a second and were reporting on the wrong David DePepe social media presence.
Conveniently a conspiracy theorist.
Yes. And that's even more ridiculous than, so they found an incorrect David DePepe. He was a right-wing extremist, crazy person, of course,
the way it's framed.
The things you'd expect. They eventually found the correct David DePepe, who was a member of a nudist colony in San Francisco. Who now he's not there now. He was previously the member of a nudist colony. Mm-hmm. And somebody, some investigative reporters went to that nudist colony. They found that it's, as you'd expect, a nudist colony in San Francisco. They have Black Lives Matter signs and gay pride signs and pot leaves hanging in the window, stuff like that. But then, the further explanation is like, oh, no, he used to be a nudist and leftist radical, but then he switched. He changed during Gamergate, which I don't have time to get into. He switched sides. He became a radical, right-wing extremist after he was a leftist radical nudist. Sure. Okay. Whatever. Now, back to the heavy.com fact check. The only credible media outlet to report that DePepe was in his underwear has retracted it. No credible media outlet has reported that Pelosi was in his underwear, and authorities have not confirmed either. Even removing the subjective judgment of what is credible from the equation, no website or news site that is repeating the claim has offered any evidence or named sourcing to back it up. I thought this was fun because suddenly they want named sourcing. Mm-hmm. Suddenly the mainstream cares about named sourcing. They can't just say somebody familiar with the topic, somebody,
it's not useful keeping anonymous in this context.
Exactly. Yeah. So we've been tracking for a few years how named sources have completely lost their place in mainstream reporting, but suddenly it's the most important thing in the world.
Which probably shows that it's true, right? The fact that they would pull out that card, there's no hard proof. It's like, well,
yeah,
seems like it must be some truth to it if you're trying so hard to not, to show that it's not true.
I mean, I don't have any evidence.
I don't either. I'm just saying,
we are inferring from what we know about the mainstream media. Mm-hmm. I'm going to wrap this up quick. The claim appears to have ignited when a single news organization, KTVU-TV, reported that DePepe was wearing only his underwear when police arrived. Although that news organization is generally regarded as credible television station, this is one of the most widely watched Bay Area news stations, KTVU-TV. It later posted a correction and removed the information on the underwear from the article. And they have to say, they love it. They have to say KTVU-TV is a Fox affiliated television station located in Oakland, California. The article was written by investigative journalist Evan Cernovsky. He has a long career in investigative reporting in the Bay Area, having worked as a San Francisco Chronicle criminal justice reporter before coming to KTVU in 2020. He also retracted the underwear claim on Twitter, writing, quote, "I'm now told by other sources that DePepe was not dressed only in his underwear, working to clarify." So the guy...
He might have been completely birthday suit.
So the yes, he was not wearing anything. So the guy who's a fairly famous, fairly credible investigative reporter who claimed with an unknown source that he was in his underwear has retracted, not even necessarily retracted. He says, "I'm now being told by other sources."
Yeah, Nancy.
Who he does not name.
Nancy.
We have unnamed sources saying that he was in his underwear. And now unnamed sources saying that he wasn't in his underwear.
You have it all wrong, Basil. Evan Cernovsky is the source. Evan is the source. See?
He is his own source.
He is a source.
Yeah. So
that's what they're doing here.
It's funny because they are leaning heavily on the lack of sourcing for him being in his underwear, but leaning on the same unnamed sourcing for the fact that he wasn't in his underwear. So we see a wonderful, sort of catch-22 in the mainstream media where they are letting us assume that he was fully clothed, even though he was a nudist, because we have no sources, even though we have no sources to say he was wearing clothes. So all this to say, confusion abounds. More questions, no answers. But it really is a fun time trying to keep up with this.
Yeah.